read it right, Courgette and Lime Cake. Hey everyone, welcome back to Pop Keto, where we aim to help you live a sustainable keto and low carb lifestyle. Today, we are going to turn these and these into a super yum cake. This is a really nice cake. Now with traditional cake, you'll always use some kind of flour, be it wheat flour or some other type of flour. Today we are using a combination of almond flour and coconut flour. We're using courgette or zucchini to give it a bit of moisture, and this lime frosting is amazing. Now, before we get into it, just want to again say a big thank you to our subscribers, unbelievable. And funnily enough, a lot of our watchers are not subscribers. There's a few of our videos now that have hundreds and hundreds of views. And if you're one of those people who are watching and enjoying what we do, why not click the subscribe button now? All right, so let's get straight into this. Now, the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to grate 2 zucchinis. We're starting off with about 400 grams of zucchini, and we're just gonna shred that up. Now we've had recipes before where we have worked with courgette. It's going to add moisture, but it can add too much moisture. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of salt and let that sort of help drain the liquid out. So this is 1/4 teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. And we're just going to mix that through lightly. And we're just going to let this sit for a bit while we put together the rest of the ingredients. And that 1/4 teaspoon is going to be enough just to draw that liquid out without making the cake too salty. So in this bowl, we're going to start with 220 grams of almond flour, and also 4 tablespoons of coconut flour. Now coconut flour is very moisture absorbing, so we're not putting a lot of it in there, but what it does do, it helps to break down the nuttiness of the almond flour. 2, 3, 4. Okay, next we are adding 3/4 cup of golden erythritol. Now, if you don't have golden erythritol, plain erythritol will work just as well. This just adds another element to it. Now, a raising agent for this recipe is just going to be plain old gluten-free baking powder, and I am adding 2 teaspoons of that to this mixture. While I'm putting this together, I'm preheating the oven at gas mark 4, about 180, 190 degrees. Now we're going to add a little bit more flavor. So to this, we are going to add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. How good is cinnamon, by the way? And 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger. Now again, 1/4 teaspoon doesn't sound like a lot, but ground ginger is actually pretty strong in flavor. All right, so we'll give this a quick mix up to get that already starting to even out in the mixture. Beautiful. And it's also a good chance to get rid of any lumps of almond or coconut flour at this point too. Okay, with our dry ingredients all together, now we're going to start adding some of the liquids. So here we go with 3 eggs. 3 large eggs if you've got them. Then we have 4 tablespoons of unsweetened almond milk. Next is 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Next, we're adding 4 tablespoons of melted coconut oil. And we're going to give that a bit of a stir, get it all mixing. And at this point, it's getting a bit thick, so I'm switching from a whisk to a spoon. Get all of those dry ingredients incorporated. All right, from here we bring back our zucchini, our courgette. And you can see a little bit of liquid has started coming out of there, but we're going to give it a bit of a squeeze, see how much we can get out. And as we squeeze it, we're just going to add it straight into the mixture bowl. Now you see all this liquid here. Now that would have been going towards making a very runny cake. So we're happy to have that out. And we mix the courgette through until that is all incorporated. And look at that. That is what we're looking for. Cool, now I have over here 2 8-inch springform cake pans that I have lined and buttered. So I've buttered them, baking paper, and then I've buttered the baking paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide this evenly amongst these 2 pans, and I'm just going to do that with a scale. And then we're just gonna flatten that out into the tin. Now this cake batter is not gonna rise a lot. This is not a sort of fluffy cake. It's a nice, dense, moist cake. So we wanna try and get this batter lined as neatly and as evenly as we can in each of these pans. And you may even wanna give that a little bit of a bang to help flatten it. Cool, so there we have it, the two pans. So we are going to put this into the center of our oven. I'm putting them both on the same shelf and we're going to have it in there for about 40 minutes. Okay, it's been 40 minutes, let's get this out. Whew, that looks good. Just going to apply the poker test. And that's nice and clean, nothing sticking to that, so that is good. We're going to put these aside to cool, and we do need them to cool because the frosting that we're using is going to be mainly cream cheese and cream, and if the cake is too warm, it's just going to melt and go everywhere. So let's put these aside. So we're starting with 400 grams of cream cheese that we've let come up to room temperature. Then it's 3/4 cup of double cream. Next ingredient is 90 grams of powdered erythritol. Now, if you've only got granulated erythritol, but you have a spice grinder or a coffee grinder, you can always run it through that to get it to a powdered consistency. We're gonna add a little bit more vanilla, and this is half a teaspoon of vanilla that we're adding to the frosting. And we're just gonna give that a bit of a mix to incorporate those ingredients before we add the last bit. And the last thing that we add is the zest and juice of 2 limes. I mean, if you've got a large lime, maybe you could do that, but you can see these are not very big. So it's mostly just the green zest there. We don't want to get too deep into the white, and then the juice from them as well. And then we just mix that up again as well. So I just scraped down the sides there. Now we're going to put this back into the fridge as we wait for the cake to cool. And we'll come back in a sec just to put it all together. So we've given it a bit of time now. The cakes have cooled down, and also so has the frosting. And basically all we're going to do, put half of it on one half, half on the other. Possibly should have taken the wrapper off first. And look how easy that comes off. Also, you can see it hasn't really risen much at all. But it's just not that type of cake. So, more icing, more frosting. So I'm going to quickly put one of them on the bottom on the plate that I'm going to serve it on. And we're going to let this cake be a little bit rustic. It sort of suits it. I'm looking forward to cutting a piece of this. Now normally I would put it in the fridge for a little bit to let the icing set, but I just want to get tucked in. It's really nice. And of course, my favorite bit, let's give it a taste. My goodness, that is so good. So you've got the ginger in the cake, and then you've got the lime in the frosting, and together they are just dynamite. Cake's nice and moist, frosting's all creamy. Tell you what, that with a cup of tea, man, living the dream. So guys, please try this. This is so great. This is one of our favorite cakes. Remember, if you do try it, to tag Pop Keto. If you're on Instagram, it's popketo_. Don't forget to click subscribe to the channel. And if you want to see more of what we've been cooking up, here's another video here. Thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye.